the lie. White supremacy is brilliant. It separated us before we ever met. It taught Africans we're better, more dignified, more hardworking, more pure. It taught us to see African Americans as lazy, criminal, inferior. Meanwhile, it taught African Americans that Africans sold them, which is true but incomplete because it erases European demand, European ships, European guns, European economic system that created the trade. The system wins when we're divided, when we say, I'm not like them. We're doing white supremacy's work, people, for free, with pride, with ignorance, wrapped in respectability. African Americans built this country with their hands, with their blood, with their bodies turned into capital. Then they were freed into a system designed to re-enslave them. Then they organized, then they fought, then they died, and then they won the rights the whole world benefits from. The anti-colonial movements in Africa were inspired by the Black Power movement. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X influenced liberation struggles globally. African Americans gave us language, strategy, and vision to fight oppression everywhere. And we repay them with judgment. We repay them with distance. We repay them by repeating white supremacist talking points. We have to address this ignorance. We have to stop it. We have to end it. We're not better. We're not smarter. We're not more deserving. We're just luckier to avoid the specific machinery of American anti-blackness. But make no mistake, to white supremacy, we're all the same. The moment we stop being useful, we're just another target. We need to learn African-American history. We need to read their thinkers, their revolutionaries. We need to read their poets, understand their struggle, not as separate from ours, but as the foundation beneath our feet. If you're African, immigrant, Caribbean, anyone who came here and benefited from African-American blood, you owe them your respect. You owe them your solidarity. You owe them the humility to learn before you judge. Stop peddling white supremacist thought. Stop distancing yourself to feel safe. Stop letting the system use you as a wedge against the people who built the road you're walking on. We're all black in America, all of us, every single one. The sooner we stand together, not in competition, not in judgment, but in recognition, the sooner we can all be free. The ignorance has to end. It starts with us. It starts with admitting we carried it here, over the Atlantic. It starts with putting it down.
I'm not gonna lie. Every time I hear something like what we just watched, it hurts me. It really does. Because it reminds me how deep this problem is and how long we've been carrying it without talking about it. Hearing Africans admitting that we sometimes look down on Black Americans is painful, but it is necessary. Because you can't fix what you keep pretending that it is not there. The truth is that a lot of Africans were not taught about the real history of Black Americans. We grew up watching movies and TV that showed Black Americans as criminals, broken families, or people who failed. We were never shown the laws, the policies, the beatings, the prisons, the sacrifices that shaped the reality. So when many Africans go to the US, they judge what they see without understanding why it looks like that. And that is what makes this conversation emotional for me. Because the very people that Africans distance themselves from are the very people who fought for the same Africans to have the right to migrate to the USA. That is the hard truth to sit with. So as we move to the next clips, I want you to watch this video with an open heart, not with defense. This is not about pointing fingers. It is about healing a wound that has been there for a long time. And the only way to move forward is by telling the truth and listening to each other. Just keep watching the video.
I used to share the same sentiment that Africans share about African Americans because I had a hard time when I first moved here. People used to always tell me, you're not black enough, you're an Oreo, you're secretly white on the inside, as if I wasn't literally from Africa. But I now understand after living here for 8 years that black in the United States is a very specific criteria and anything outside of that just doesn't fit. But I want to help African Americans understand that Africans coming to the United States are immigrants, first and foremost. Then they are Nigerian or Senegalese or whatever country they're from. And then at some point, they are black. But Africans don't put black high up on their identity well, as much as African Americans do. And that is for legitimate reasons on both ends. And so when an African is coming to the United States, they're thinking to themselves, okay, I'm an immigrant here. I have to do my best for myself and my family back home. The sacrifices that took for me to get here were no light work. Okay, so I need to really like align myself with what's going to make me successful in this country. And because it's the United States, it's the dominant culture, which is white American culture. And so Africans are going to instinctively ally themselves with the culture that's going to give them the most success. I mean, African Americans even admit that they have to code switch to be successful here because that's what brings success. And so Africans are like, all right, we'll do that. And it also doesn't help that for a long time, Africans are fed a very negative view of Black American culture, and that's its own propaganda. But because Africans are so conservative and they're coming to a country where Black Americans have been labeled as the antithesis to this conservative traditional family values, they have, if anything, more in common with like Southern Baptist white racist people. But that aside, going back to identity markers, Black Americans put Black first and foremost, and then everything else goes below it. And so they're thinking when another Black people come to our country, they're going to want to integrate with us, the other Black people, because duh, Black comes first. And they get quickly disappointed in realizing that for Africans, Black and the identity and that coming is not first. Their immigrant identity comes first, and then their country. And if anything, for us as Africans to feel like that's my brother, that's my brethren, or whatever, you have to come from the same tribe as us, because we have so many Black people around, we don't automatically pre-select for Black. But Black Americans don't have so many Black people around, have had to defend and protect their culture amidst a dominant white culture, and so they already pre-select and are overprotective for Black. And so that's why I think at the core of it, there's like a deep misunderstanding because of not realizing that we put where we put our identity markers and what we put first and what we prioritize are so different culturally because of our differences in trauma, realistically. And so it does make sense that Black Americans will be like, oh, my people, my brethrens, come here. And African Americans, or Africans, coming to the United States are like, I'm just trying to make it here. Like, it's a lot of work to immigrate to the United States. And so y'all can stay over there, and I can see why it's hurtful, and I can see why it's taken personally, and I can see the deep misunderstanding and the betrayal that African Americans feel. But it's unfortunate, and that's just a reality. But if we can talk about it from this perspective, I think we can get to a better understanding. But I also believe that Africans that spend enough time in the United States get to this compassion and understanding of the Black American community, because it is a very unique and specific set of circumstances for a culture to grow and to develop.
My African friend explained to me that a lot of Africans don't like African Americans, and that's simply a difference in culture. So let me explain how I discovered this. My friend and me were sitting down at an IHOP at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I invited him out. He said, "Thank you. I appreciate you. You are very kind." I said, "No problem, bro. I appreciate you." He says, "So you are from Africa, and why you don't have the accent?" I said, "Well, I've been here long enough to where I kind of adapted a Midwestern accent, and I kind of lost the African accent." He said, okay, I understand, okay." So we were talking, and he said, "Oh, look at those hood rats over there." And I said, "The hood rats?" And there's a bunch of Black people just being loud and rowdy. And I said, "Well, they're not really hood, it's just they're us, they're Black people like us." And he said, "You know how it is." And sadly, I knew exactly what he was talking about. You see, he then began to explain to me, like just in general, what I had thought and known for quite some time. He said, "Africans do not know African Americans at all. They do not like them. Let me watch this." He said, "Hello, brothers." And he signaled the hood rats that he called them over there. He said, "What's up, cuz? Cracking?" Then he said, "Do you know who the African president is?" And he says, "Nah, I had no idea. I don't know, Shabuki, like. And he did some clicking noise, like, "Oh, that boy from like." And he was like, "Yeah, thank you, brother. You all right?" He said, "Yeah, I know my African history. I'm from the motherland. Peace up, word up." He says, "Word up." See, they are idiots. I'm like, "Oh, yeah." He says, he starts explaining to me about how they don't know African history. They only know African American history. That's all they know. It's a difference. He said American Africans are not good. And I'm like, what do you mean not good? He said they're not us. They're not cultured like us. They are not us. And then I asked, I said, why would like some Africans come over here because they want to be American? Well, they get American money, send it over to their family. Asian do this too. And there's a bunch of Asians in Africa for some reason. And there are there's like a little subsection of Asian people, like Chinese people in Africa because there's no population laws. It's a whole thing. He was explaining all this lore to me. I didn't know anything about this. I was confused. I was like, are you sure this is real? And he said, as far as I know, this is real. This is what I know. I go by what I know. That is what I am. Then he started talking like homophobic and all this other stuff. And he said, well, think about it. Most older black people here even are homophobic. You know, when they say, is he this? And I said, okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. But, you know, the newer generation is coming out and changing that. He says, no, newer generation African Americans are majority are homophobic. Same with Caucasus people. Caucasus people. They are also homophobic. And I said, okay, all right, okay, fair. And I was just learning how his perception was, and it got me thinking, why is it that way? Why don't Africans like African Americans? Can someone explain that to me? Why is that?
My family members in the US, you know, when they go to the bank to take a loan, they will be given a loan. But when their African American friends go there, you know, to take the same loan, they will deny them, from having a loan. When it also comes to jobs, for example, you know, just to apply some jobs, my African family, you know, with African passport, they will give them some jobs, you know, and then the African Americans, they know they will not be able to have the same jobs. So God bless this brother here for explaining these things, you know, to the Africans who thinks that they are in the United States and they are better than African Americans, you know, because of their hard works, they are there. As he said, you know, from the time of slavery all the way to the Jim Crow era in the United States, not only that, but even today, the way the system is built, you know, you as an African with an African passport, you know, the system will favor you than the African Americans. Because of why? The system knows that first, you are not American, you know, and then not only that, but they can also put a pressure on you, you know, just like at your workplace, you know, to do certain things, even you don't want to. Why? Because you do not want to lose your green card, or you do not want to lose your job, you know, which might just put you at the risk of deporting you back to your home country. I have seen a lot of Africans, you know, on the internet talking about African Americans being lazy, being this, being that, you know. If you think because of your hard work you are in the US, why don't you sit your ass in Africa, you know, to work hard to get what you are having right now in the US? But no, because you can't make it in Africa because of the way our system back home here also is not enough jobs for people, you know, not only jobs, you know, but you, for example, who is from a minority family, let's start with, you know, you will not have the chance, to be able to do something here because it's not about what you know, it's about whom you know. The same system is in the United States put in place for the African Americans, you know. So I want to see all of you black Americans, I want to see all of you black Africans, you know, to work together, to know that we are all families, you know. I am Africans. And then it hurts me a lot that by seeing Africans on the internet in the United States, you know, trying to bully the African Americans, you know, taking them as lazies, you know, or taking them as they don't work. But this is what happens, you know, if you do not learn your history, you know. And not only that, you also think that white man is God, you know. Trust me, so many of African people are brainwashed to believe in this, you know. Sadly, we even have leaders right now in power who are working for the same people who are oppressing the African Americans in the United States. The same people, our own leaders in Africa, are also oppressing us. You know, these people in the United States, these black Africans who think like this, they just think the same as some of our leaders here right now who are working with these Western powers to oppress the black peoples in general. So I said, it's time for you Africans, you know, who thinks like this to come on the table, to know that African Americans are our family members.
When I see black people talking about racism, all that stuff, I'm like, what is wrong with these people? You guys have food, you have EBT, all these things, and you're here shouting about somebody is racist too. Just leave that person and move on. I feel that way. Like, why are they always like complaining? But when Black Lives Matters started happening, like, I sat down, I said, I need to actually know why these people are pained. And if we look at the history, what they've done to them, like if you actually sit down, watch some documentaries, how they were maltreated, I don't think if I'm actually born, I will forgive those people. I don't care. It's easier for us Africans that were raised in Africa to feel like they're complaining because we were raised through struggle. Like, I barely even have water, and you have water, you're complaining. But then it's not about the basic necessity or about how we are raised. We are raised like, I don't want to say way better. We might not have resources, but there are some way, like our own people will not look down on us or put us behind. So it's in their nurture that way. Like, they just can't overlook it. And if you sit down and watch everything that the forefathers have been through for real, I changed my mind. No, they need to be angry. However, they should still move forward.
I feel like a lot of Africans don't understand the African American experience. I never knew until I came here and started learning the history of what happened here. Like, all the way from the end of slavery, Jim Crow laws, redlining, the civil rights movement, the pipeline from the school to prison pipeline.
The prison industrial complex.
Yeah, like all of this stuff. I don't think Africans have an idea of all these things that are put against African Americans to become successful. Like, even the Africans that are brought here, we're brought and we're put into like nicer neighborhoods. They don't put us in Southside Chicago in like the worst neighborhoods where you literally have to get a gun to survive, where you have to, like, you're fighting for your life. They put us in nice neighborhoods. And then
talk about the churches, how they will indoctrinate you.
How white people are nicer to Africans than African Americans.
Like, the charity that is given to Africans through these, religious organizations and just like philanthropy, it's like, we got to help these people in Africa. And that's a whole other conversation in itself.
That white savior
conversation in itself.
Yeah.
But we receive like a sympathetic lens on us.
So acknowledge the fact that happens over here in the United States, but then you have the mirror on the other side. If you're African American and you go to these other countries, especially these Muslim countries, these European countries, if you have that American visa, it's different.
Yeah.
Compared to if you're just Sudanese going to
just African.
you're not having the same experience.
The visa, the American visa hits differently.
Imagine playing a game where the rules are rigged against you from the start. Every time you take a step forward, the game changes and the goalposts are moved further away. This is the reality that African Americans have faced here in America. A never-ending struggle where for centuries the odds have been stacked against them. I have to admit, when I first moved here to America, I used to hear harmful rhetoric from my African friends, my relatives. Oh, Akata people are lazy. Akata this, Akata that. What I didn't understand is that African Americans have been playing a rigged game their entire existence here in the United States. Underfunded schools, liquor stores, drugs rampant around every block in their neighborhoods, redlining and rezoning, taking away healthy grocery stores, replacing them with fast food chains, having to be overqualified just to apply to entry-level jobs and menial jobs. African Americans have built, fought, bled for this country despite the system being rigged against them. They were not given a fair start. They were not given a fair shot. Yet they still managed to endure and persevere. It's time we stop letting stereotypes and harmful rhetoric break us down. Together, we can rewrite the rules. Our strength lies in unity. Together, we can win this game. We can create a game where we all win. Are you ready to play the game?
I saw a video of an African woman talking trash to people who paved the way for you. Do you know how many fights do these people fought for you? Just for you to be where you are today. You understand? Do you know how they marched years back just to be free, and even for us to be free? Yeah, I saw a video of an African saying that why is it that people from Africa, and when they come to America, they easily make it. They make it more than the black Americans. Someone should answer her. Like, come on. You are from Congo. You are from Congo, and a lot is going on in Congo. If you know that you can actually make it, why did you not stay in your homeland and make it? What is the competition all about? What is the insult all about? I can't get these things right. What is all this competition all about? Let me tell you, yes, we know that Black Americans, yes, their root is from Africa, right? For those of them that will accept, their root is from Africa. But this is their land. This is where they belong. They are from America. You can't come to people's land and be competing with them. You can't come to someone's place and be fighting them. Stop saying all this trash on social media. You Africans, you are doing the most with all this, your careers and everything. Who are you feeding? Are you feeding anyone? Are you feeding any of your friends? Are you even helping these Black Americans? Are you the one helping them? Are you the one taking care of their kids? Are you the one paying their mortgages? Black Americans are very intelligent people, just so you know. If you have ever been with them in class, you will know what I'm talking about. They are not loud. They are just not loud. Why are you Africans that loud when you come to the US? You become a doctor, you become a big deal. You become a lawyer, you become a problem. Do you know how many Black Americans that are doctors that we don't even talk about? The noise is just too much.
Yes, you guys don't like Black Americans at all. You guys just say bad things about them. They are not from Africa. They don't know their home. Oh, you know, it's so sad. All the time, you look at a Black man and you tell them that, oh, you are from America. You are not African. You are not from Africa. You are lost. You are from slavery. I'm not a slave. You are a slave. Shame on you. Shame on you to even open your mouth. Do you know how painful that is? Whether they look like you or they don't look like you, they are your people. And you say to their face that you are not one of me. You are a slave. Wow. Do you know the pain that our ancestors went through? Just because you were not colonized does not mean you should open your mouth to call somebody a slave.
That we the cultural engine. We created the music, the fashion, the slang that influences the whole world, buddy.
I want to start with something that honestly makes me sad whenever I hear it. I feel a deep pain whenever I hear a Black Africans looking down on a Black American on saying anything bad about Black Americans. It hurts me because this attitude is not coming from the truth. It is not coming from the real history. It is coming from misinformation, ignorance, and a system that was designed to keep Black people divided from the beginning. Many Africans who look down on Black Americans do not do it so because they are evil people. Most of them are simply misinformed. They were never properly educated about the real history of Black Americans. Growing up in many African countries, many people are not told the full history of what happened to the Black people in the United States. Instead, they grow up watching Hollywood movies. In these movies, Black Americans are always shown as criminals, drug dealers, single mothers, absent fathers, prisoners, or violent people. Rarely do these movies show the policies, the laws, the history, and the system that created these conditions. So when many African immigrants arrived in the USA, they land with this false image planted in their minds. They arrive thinking, I don't want to associate with these people. I am not like them. I work hard. I respect authority. I came here legally. What they don't understand is that the very reason they were even able to migrate to the USA is because of the fight that was fought by Black Americans and their ancestors. That truth is uncomfortable and many people don't want to talk about it. African immigrants benefit from the civil rights laws the moment they land in the USA. They benefit from anti-discrimination laws. They benefit from fair housing laws. They benefit from voting rights. They benefit from workplace protections. None of these things were given freely. Black Americans were beaten, jailed, and murdered for these rights. People lost their lives so the future generations, including African immigrants, could have legal protections in America. And yet some Africans migrate to the USA and look down on the very people who made their opportunities possible. That mindset has to stop. At the same time, we also need to be honest on the other side. Many Black Americans were also not taught about the real history of Africa. When you ask an average Black American about Africa, they will give you wrong information. Many of them know Africa through the war footage, poverty image, charity ads, and negative stereotypes. Just like how Africans were miseducated about the Black Americans' history, also Black Americans were miseducated about Africans and Africans' history. This was not an accident. This was a system. White supremacy works best when Black people are divided. It teaches Africans that they are better than Black Americans. It teaches Black Americans that Africans sold them and abandoned them. It removes the context. It removes the history. It removes European demand, European weapons, European ships and economic system from the story. Then it let Black people fight each other while the system remained untouched. These are the same people who should be uniting. These are the same people who should be sharing knowledge, resources, power and protection. Instead, we see competition. We see insults on social media. We see online fights. We see some Africans calling Black Americans lazy. We see Black Americans calling Africans ignorant or jealous. Meanwhile, the same system that benefits from the division continues to win. The truth is simple. We all come from the same roots. We share the same ancestors. We share the same past. Our stories were separated by force, not by choice. Now, I want to address a sensitive topic with respect. There are some Black Americans who say that they are not African. They say they have nothing to do with Africa. They say they were in America before the arrival of Christopher Columbus. I understand why some people feel that way. I understand the pain behind that statement. I understand the desire to claim identity without going through the trauma of slavery. But even if we talk about the idea of Black people being in America before the arrival of Christopher Columbus and other explorers, we must be honest. Those Black people would still have been Africans. There was a time in the history, especially during the time of powerful African civilizations like Mali Empire, when Africans were exploring the world. There are historical theories and records suggesting that African explorers closed oceans, and some of those people never returned. If Black people were in America before the arrival of Europeans, they did not stop being Africans just because of geography. Africa is not just location, it is the origin. But here is the most important point. Whether someone identifies as African, Black American, Afro-Caribbean, or something else, the system that targets them in America does not care about those differences. To white supremacy, Black is Black. When the system no longer needs you, your accent will not save you. Your passport will not save you. Your education will not save you. Your proximity to whiteness will not save you. History has shown us this again and again. African immigrants need to understand that distancing themselves from Black Americans will not protect them. It only delays the same treatment. And Black Americans need to understand that many of the African immigrants who arrived in the US arrived being miseducated about the real history of Black Americans in the USA. They are not hateful by nature. Education, not insults, is how to fix this. We need to start learning each other's history. Africans need to learn about slavery, mass incarceration, redlining, Jim Crow laws. Black Americans need to learn about colonialism, resource extraction, political destabilization, and how African societies were deliberately underdeveloped. When we understand each other's trauma, we will stop competing. When we stop competing, we start organizing. When we start organizing, the system starts to feel uncomfortable. The power of Black Americans is real. it is global. Black American movement inspired anti-colonial struggles in Africa. Black American thinkers inspired liberation movements across the world. That power did not come from privilege, it came from survival. We are stronger together than apart. We lose when we insult each other. We lose when we repeat stereotypes. We lose when we let the system tell us who we are supposed to hate. This conversation is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Silence only helps the oppressor. Truth, even when it hurts, is the first step toward unity. If we truly want unity, if we truly want freedom, it will not come from competition. It will come from recognition, humility, learning, and solidarity. And that starts with us. That was it for today. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down there in the comment section. If you have not yet liked the video, please click on that like button. Mr. TA signing off.